Hello, everyone. My name is John Jacobson, and I am speaking to you from my basement here in Alamuchi, New Jersey, at a time and a place in our history that we are in a national crisis. I never would thought that I could make such a video or YouTube post. Tried to do a podcast, but that seemed a little bit more effort and smacked of too much calories for me to waste for my gray matter. But what I'm trying to tell you is this: who am I to come here on the internet and tell you what I think? Who am I to tell you what to do? But there is so much bad counsel out there today that I feel it necessary to at least express some of my opinions, even if just one person is watching. You can see that I have not dressed up for this, I haven't shaved, and it is really to reflect the captivity of our nation at this time due to the corona COVID 19 virus. I can't say that this is what really sparked my ability to come on and try to say something to you, but it has just been a slow progression of a veil of ignorance that has been dropped over our heads as a people, as a nation, as a world population, due to different factors that is too long to discuss. But the one subject that I want to talk to you today is the velocity of the virus. Some of you may know about the velocity of money. The theory of the velocity of money states that a $1 bill can go a long way in one day. For instance, suppose you take a taxi cab ride, or I suppose today it's Uber or Lyft, and you tip your driver $1. They will take that $1 and maybe go to buy a coffee at Dunkin' Donuts. Dunkin' Donuts will then take that $1 and they will pay their employees. Their employees will take that $1 and they might go out and buy some bubble gum with it. The store owner at the Five and Dime is what we used to call it, will take that $1 and go out and buy some staple products that they may need. So anyway, that $1 that you decided to tip that taxi cab driver goes a long way until it finds its terminus. In this case, for that dollar bill, that terminus would be for some aunt or uncle that decided to give little Billy or Susie a dollar in their Christmas card or birthday card. This just goes to show you how old I am. It's probably more about $10 or $15 today. But the fact is that that dollar then would find its way to a piggy bank, and in the piggy bank there it would stay, wouldn't move. Not until the child either grew older, opened up their own bank account, and then put it into some institution that would then lend it out to someone else. So anyway, the dollar gets killed basically when it hits that piggy bank, never to see the light of day again. The same is true with the virus, any virus for that fact. However, specifically with this virus, I'll go into that in a little bit, but this virus seems to find its way into nursing homes, into group homes, okay, into places where people are basically invalids. Uh, how does the virus get there? Are these people going out at night? Are they partying? Are they getting out in their wheelchairs celebrating? And I don't mean to be obtuse here, but the simple fact of the matter is that the virus has even found its way into the zoo, okay? Tigers and other big cats have been affected by the virus. This is not normal. Why are we hearing about it at its terminal, at its terminus, okay, and not hearing about it before? Yes, of course, we know that there are plenty of young people and middle-aged people who are getting infected, but they don't seem to really need much serious medical attention. The only time that it's really brought to our attention is when people with multiple morbidities, comorbidities, or people who are elderly or infirmed are infected. These are the people who need the most medical attention, and these are the people who are receiving acute care. But my point is this: if the velocity of the dollar states that it has to move through many hands before it gets to that piggy bank, the same thing is true with the virus. It has to go through many people before it gets to the person in the nursing home, the person who's sequestered, the person who's quarantined, the person who's actually looked after stringently. How does it get to the nursing home? Okay? It has to go through multiple hands, multiple people, multiple bodies just to actually get there. What I feel that we really don't know, and only serology will tell us this, blood work for people who have antibodies to the COVID 19 virus, is the fact that the velocity of the virus has quite possibly passed through a vast majority of the nation, or the world for that matter, already. We only really find out about it until people start showing up in the hospital. Up until then, it might be somebody with a cough. It might be somebody with a runny nose or sneezing. It might be somebody with nothing at all. Uh, I know George Stephanopoulos tested positive after his wife came down very ill with the sickness, uh, but he said he didn't even know he had it. He had zero symptoms, maybe a pain in his back or, a slight heaviness of his chest, but nothing compared to what some other people are facing, a life and death struggle. So, my question to you is this: how far has the virus gone? And at this point, does it make sense to turn down a whole economy to accommodate the fact that the horse is out of the barn, the cat is out of the bag? We really won't know this until we do mass testing for blood work for people that have antibodies. As far as I know, that hopefully will start to come out in a few weeks, but it's going to take a long, long time. We need to just focus on certain sectors that have been hardest hit and see just how much the virus has delved into those communities. If it's 50, 60%, we've already achieved herd immunity, okay? I don't like the terminology herd immunity, and I always want to say herd mentality, just because I'm a little dyslexic and those things seem to cross. But the point is this: when we have social immunity, we can carry on with our lives. When we have social immunity, that means that we can start to understand what the mortality rate is. Now, don't get me wrong, one death ain't right. And whatever we can do to prevent people from suffering is what we have to do. But people do suffer when they can't work. People do suffer when they're stuck in their homes with nothing to do. In and around my county, overdose rates have doubled just in the last month. That ain't right either. Nothing to speak of stress, worry, concern, heart attacks, addictions. We need to weigh all the options that are in front of us. So, what is the true velocity of the virus? If it has passed through our youngsters, as I truly believe it has, because they're the most vivacious and the most gregarious of us all, that means it spread through the school systems and found its way home to grandma, to grandpa, to aunt, auntie, to uncle, okay? That's where it was brought by children who didn't even know that they had the disease. It's not their fault. It's just the way virus is, okay? You can't stop a virus. You can only hope to contain it so that the healthcare system will not be overrun. Thank God, and I say that truly, thank God our healthcare system was not overrun. I know in some other countries it was, and that's a sad fact that is another topic for another day. But what I'm trying to tell you is, when do we wake up out of this fog? When do we wake up out of this coma? When do we face the fact that the virus was far more prevalent than was let on? My wife and I came down with a mysterious illness over Valentine's Day. We didn't know what it was. It hit us pretty hard, but as soon as it came, it went. I think it was about 3 or 4 days for me, and probably a week for my wife. She never takes off from school. She works in a local school system in our local school district, and she actually had to take a day off. That's how ill she was. But she works with children, and there's an old saying: school's like a petri dish. Kids sneezing, coughing, wiping their nose. What they used to call them sleeve slugs, all over themselves. And my wife has to go there and help them because she works in pre-K to second grade, and it's very likely that she probably brought something home that was passed around in the school. But we didn't think it was anything that serious. Was it COVID-19? Couldn't tell you. Other people need to be tested, not us. And I'm very thankful for that. But at some point or another, we're going to have to test our community to see what the velocity of the virus was. Just like the velocity of money, the velocity of the virus is very important to understand and to figure out. I don't know if I've coined this term. I did take some economics at school, And I do know a little bit about theories. Why isn't this theory spoken about? Why is it not addressed? I understand the most pertinent thing right now is to look at and to treat those who are most in need. But at some point, we have to figure out that there's a nation to run here, and we can't let it fall into disarray. Please think about the velocity of the virus. Think about getting tested to see if you have antibodies. Think about how this virus ran through our community, and if it really is just finding its terminal point in the elderly and those with comorbidities and those who are infirmed. Because if it is, they're the last people to get it. They're the absolutely last in line. They are the piggy bank. They are the end user of the virus. Everybody else has been exposed to some extent or another. And what I'm trying to say is, it's not something that we need to be afraid of. It's nature. It's the way things work. Whether it's designed that way or not is a subject for another YouTube episode. That's another very interesting subject. But the point is that this virus has acted very abnormally, leaving relatively unaffected a large part of the population and affecting a very, very, very minute part of the population. As these statistics come in, I'm thinking that maybe I'm right, but I'm humble enough to admit that I'm probably wrong. But still, it's worth thinking about. Objective truth, something you really don't hear much about today. Take care, and God bless, and I hope to see you on one of my next YouTube postings. Bye-bye.